Hi there, and welcome to this edition of ZoeTV. We're really excited today because we have two of our very favorite people on our show, and both of them are going to give you a little more insight into, number one, who they are in their own lives, and also tell you a little bit about maneuvering through COVID and some of the things they do. And that is our campus chaplain, Stan Flores. He's going to be with us. And then we also have Gabe Vasquez, and he is going to talk to us about, number one, his brand new baby, and we're also going to be talking about some of the things that he does as just a part of, he's director of media services, and it's interesting how most everything that he does is behind the scenes.
That's right.
And so you don't get to see a lot of him in front of the camera. So we like to pull him out from behind the camera every now and then and have a conversation with him, and we hope you're going to enjoy that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We are really excited today to have one of our favorite people on the show. You know him as our campus chaplain, Stan Flores. He helps do the daily briefing in the morning. We always get a wonderful devotional and prayer from him to start our days with. He does Chap Chat, and he also teaches in the university classes this fall. So welcome, Stan. Thank you so much for being here.
So good to be here.
We really wanted to talk to you a little bit about how we have, as a campus, maneuvered through this pandemic. How are the residents that you have had the opportunity to talk to, how are they handling things? What are their greatest needs or desires, that type of thing?
Well, when the pandemic hit, that was unbelievable how it affected everybody.
Yeah.
You had in fact, most of the people that I talked to, even with the staff, they didn't really know what it is all about. In fact, they said, well, is it like the flu? Is it going to be just a little bit worse? And then it hit.
Yes.
And I think everybody was in, I wouldn't say a panic mode, but they were definitely saying, we got to make some changes right away.
Right.
If we're going to head this off, and if we're going to still take care of our residents. And I saw people scrambling. And from a good perspective, I saw a lot of innovation. I saw a lot of the employees turn around and say, how are we going to continue to have life in our campus?
Right.
How are we going to give activities? How are we going to give the Bible studies, the worship? Because no longer can we have the group setting, which that took care of 50 people at one time.
Right. We had to come up with a lot of options.
And I'll tell you, I'm really amazed at how the staff took this head on and creatively came up with things. And it was rough at the beginning. It's getting better now.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden our residents, they were hit like, what is going on here?
Do you think that you saw a lot of denial or depression, or how is the general emotion of the campus?
It started like a curve. It started here, just like with the staff. What is it? What's going on? Okay, we'll deal with it. And then it spiked. It went way up when all of a sudden we started hearing about death rates and how it can be passed on, and what's going on here. What do we got to do? What steps do we got to take? Restrictions being pulled back. And I saw it spike to where there was a fear. It went from concern to fear. Okay. Then all of a sudden it was projected that things were going to get a little bit better. And we should be back to normal. Summertime's going to help cure the virus. It's going to kill the virus. And so people started relaxing, and it started becoming less and less of a fear. And then all of a sudden it went right back up again.
Well, I think people have realized by here we are, the end of July. And of course, the summer has had nothing to do with the virus itself.
And then with Arizona being spiking, right now, you see the same situation with the residents. When it spiked, residents spiked. We are now at a level of, it's no longer fear, although it's still a high intensity up there, it is more frustration.
Yes.
People right now, the residents, are more frustrated because of what what's going on now and the uncertainty, and they're tired. They're totally exhausted with we want to go back to normal.
I know. I think everybody does.
I was going to say, I think that we all have a bit of that, and I don't want to say selfishness, but we all missed what the old norm was. And we have that conversation with each other all the time as we're preparing for the fall and what's to come of conference schedules for what we do in our industry, how everybody's already abandoning all of the live conferences, and now we're filming and we're having to do all these videotapes, and it's just the frustration level from our workplace down to our residents. We all feel it.
Yes.
But we all know we have to embrace what this is, because we got to do better for each other. We got to look out for ourselves.
You know, the other thing too, just let me interject real quick, is that I feel like, I've been in that place, and you've even prayed with me quite a bit to help me move through that, is that, thankfully, we're in a time where we do have options, and we could go remotely, and we could do things virtually. I think it's so easy to focus on the negative, which, there's a lot associated with this. But the positive, we're living in an age where we have been able to replace a lot of what we do, whereas decades ago, we would have never been able to do that. We would have been quarantining, and that's it,
Well, I think we as seniors in our twilight area of our life, it's a little bit harder for us to adapt with these changes.
True.
And so what I'm seeing with our residents is, and quite frankly, I think we're doing a marvelous job here at Glencroft in being innovative and trying to create activities, trying to facilitate the studies, the Bible studies, the lessons, on live service now is being morphed with the community of faith, because they used to gather together, and that was a socialization.
That's right. People need that.
So even though we are implementing all these things, we're still lagging behind in the residents. The residents are catching up slowly. Okay, I'm grateful that Glencroft is taking every initiative, and they're brainstorming, and they're coming up with new things all the time.
Yes.
But our residents are still taking. It's hard for them to adjust with it as quickly as we're trying to do.
To a new normal.
Right.
To a new normal.
And right now, I'm thinking one of the greatest things with the residents' needs right now is they're lonely. There is so much loneliness with the inability to see their family like they used to be able to have visits. They are growing into the social media aspects to where they're now being able to communicate with them on the iPads and so on and so forth at Providence Place. And FaceTime, the window, being able to visit through the window situation, that has been very, very helpful. But I still, when I'm talking with people right now and our residents, and I see this a lot, is that they're saying is, we're tired of this. And I think I would like to encourage them to continue to trust, continue to press forward, continue to adapt and grow, because we don't know how long this is going to last, but we definitely understand the frustration. I mean, for the first time, I haven't seen my grandkids or my wife. I see my wife all the time. but my grandkids, my daughter, my son-in-law, the first time I saw them in 5 months was Father's Day. And they finally just said, look, we want to see you. And so they said, we'll do the 6 feet and we'll wear the mask. And when I saw my grandkids, they came up and Papa, they hugged me like crazy. And I understand why we have to do what we have to do. But now I was no longer a chaplain. I was a papa. I was a dad. And I saw the need to embrace, to hug, to hold, to see them in person, and to say, I love you, Papa, I care for you. So again, I understand. We understand
Absolutely.
Well, that's how we're all wired. We all need that. So I'm with you. It's hard. I think like you said, our residents have done their best to adapt. Opening the Performance Center and getting that sense of normalcy back, even in small little baby groups, was important. Because their ability to have, okay, this feels right. This feels like what used to be. As we move forward, and I know you're going to be teaching a lot in our university, having at least the options of we're going to keep it really contained in this room, 10 or 12 max,
Yes.
but have it on TV where we can at least have both sides. If you do feel safe and comfortable, know we can spread out, you sign up. If you want to be in your safety of your room, you at least have options.
That's
I think that's a big
I
piece of
agree.
it.
And what I would like to share with the residents is that the staff here are really, they're pushing as far as they can go and do everything that they can do and following the guidelines.
Right.
I think we have done more stuff here at Glencroft than I've seen in other places.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, from the monitoring how many we can have, but we're going to have it. Monitoring, we're going to open up the places where we can eat at, but we're going to monitor. We got to wear our masks, but we're going to do this.
Yeah, and we have to follow. We have recommendations that we have to follow.
That's right.
And requirements, and
But
so
we're
that's
doing
what
it.
we're doing.
But we are doing it. But we also know that
Yes.
life doesn't stop here.
No,
we
it
have
doesn't.
to keep the
And-
idea of thriving and vitality in place, but we're best practices of safety.
And I have to commend you because he has been boots on the ground with regards to visiting the residents, setting up times with them, and have even gone in with full PPE equipment on to visit people in the isolation unit over at Providence Place.
It means a lot to everybody.
So absolutely. Thank you so much for everything that you do, Stan. It means the world to all of us.
I
And
appreciate being a part of a great team.
such a wonderful, and he just celebrated his 1-year anniversary being
Man,
at
time flies.
Which doesn't it feel like he's been here longer, I say. But thank you for being on the
Thanks,
show
Stan.
today.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Lish Vasquez, Dining Services Director at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging, and today I'm going to be making the chicken teriyaki power bowl. What you're going to have is some steamed red Himalayan rice, your steamed broccoli, shredded julienne carrot, chopped green onions, and some teriyaki sauce. And over in my pan here, I have cooked some grilled chicken breast. So what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble this. We're going to take our hot steamed broccoli. We're going to set it right in the corner of the Himalayan red rice, like so. And you're going to take some shredded carrot. Over here. I'm gonna take my chicken breast. We're gonna slide it right onto and like right in the middle of the bowl, like that. And you're gonna take your teriyaki sauce, and you're just going to slowly drizzle that glaze over your bowl, like that. Ooh, wow, yes. And then garnish with your green onions at the top, just like that. Simple, quick, easy. That's Zoe. And that is our grilled chicken teriyaki power bowl. I'm Lish Vasquez, Dining Services Director at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging, and eating healthy can taste good. Happy cooking.
We are so lucky today to be joined by Game Vasquez, IT savant,
Yes.
guru behind the scenes,
Director
makes
of Media
magic,
Services.
Director of Media Services, but more than that. That's like,
so much
you need
more
a
than
business
that.
card this long to be new dad, book reader,
That's right.
IT mastermind.
I know.
mean, so
Seriously.
thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. A lot of people probably don't know I'm usually behind the camera.
That's right.
Still
You're
tag along.
always
We're
behind
like
the
this guy.
camera, most
Come
of
over
the
to
time.
this side.
Tag along
And
with
you
the
look
taping
awake.
show.
You look for having a new baby.
I know.
Yeah. Good,
no,
man.
no, we've been really fortunate with our new baby. By the time this airs, my baby's turning exactly 6 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So time is flying, definitely
6
fast. but
weeks.
All right, so say the name.
It's
Let's get it. Let's
insane.
talk about
Her
this.
name is Isela.
Isela.
It's a Spanish name.
Okay.
Isela.
Okay.
Isela Penelope Vasquez.
Beautiful.
I know it is beautiful.
So how did you come up? Was that an easy name, or you guys had this in the store for a long time, or
We've
how did
had
they
it in
come-
the storage for a long time. Even before we were married, we had a couple of names that we liked a lot. I'm not going to say any others because then
You don't want anybody to use them.
You don't know what else happens. We had a couple boy names, we had a couple girl names, and I just thought it was such a beautiful name.
Oh, it's very cool. It just
And-
flows though.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Very cool.
She's beautiful.
She's
Yes.
amazing.
She
we're gonna be
is
putting
beautiful.
pictures up during
and
the
this
show.
Is,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
this
can
is
take
the
a look at her
perfect
right
spot
now.
to
Right here.
put a picture. There you go.
Big yawn.
You late.
Very cool. And how is Mama? Is she doing good?
Mom's doing really good. We're trying to do the best balance that we can as
Okay.
far as being able to have a true partnership and handling this huge life change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because it's a lot of hard work.
Absolutely.
It is.
For each individual. So we need to be able to split things as even as possible. So, but the baby's been extremely accommodating. I've got a baby that does not cry on a changing table getting its diaper changed.
Oh my goodness.
I've got a baby that does not get fussy in any of those circumstances. She's a very, very happy, content baby, so she makes things real easy. Even for last night, we set her to bed.
Yeah.
She eats, and then she's going to sleep until like 3 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And then she gets
Little
a feeding
girls.
at 3.
I tell you what,
another
that's not
feeding
my
at 6
experience.
o'clock.
I know,
boys.
but you
I
and
got
boys,
crushed.
I tell you, all three of my girls, exactly the same thing. I was so lucky. And then later, they, were talking about how you need to wake the baby up to feed them. I'm like, why? If they're sleeping.
But
So-
all the growing happens
Yes.
while they're eating. Their body will
That's
wake them
true.
up if they're out of food,
Yeah.
they're out of nourishment.
That's true,
As long
yeah.
as she's still breathing and moving
Yeah.
and content, let's let her sleep.
Yeah.
So she'll sleep all the way to 3 in the morning. Lish will tag in and feed her at 3.
Yeah.
And then Lish gets to sleep in all morning while I'm handling 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock to feed
Right.
baby and set her back
Okay.
down because baby wants to sleep in with mom too.
Right.
So then after like 10 in the morning, both of them get up and they want to be awake
Living
for
the
lunch
dream.
and awake for
I
all the big part of the
know.
day. So it's not a bad deal.
That's a
No,
great
it's not.
schedule.
What a
Well,
great way to
my
start
boys
fatherhood.
both had colic, and we didn't get ever a schedule. It was
well,
just chaos.
yeah,
That was our
I know.
schedule. So
Well,
you're lucky, man.
one thing me and Lish like to say is because the pregnancy has actually been a dream too. It was really easy on Lish. And
Not
of course,
convoluted.
everyone always asks about the second baby, and our words have been, I'm not falling for that trap.
Smart.
Let us get through the first.
Yeah,
first.
especially having baby being just a success, where we learned our, the wisdom that we gained
Yeah.
as far as why we think we only want one child is having our Frenchie, a dog. And you think, well, dog aren't like children. But
Right.
bear with me. Had our Frenchie. Frenchie turned 2 years old, and he's still just a snuggly little pie. He's
Isn't
just a
that
dog who wants to sit in
wonderful?
your lap and snuggle and take naps all day. And we think, things are pretty chill at the house. We've got everything figured out. There's another dog that we want to adopt. It was at the Humane Society, and he was just a beautiful bull terrier mix. And we thought, oh my God, what a gorgeous dog. We want to add him to the mix. We want to adopt him in our family.
Right.
He was really sick. He had a whole pot belly eating garbage on the streets, and we wanted to save him.
Yeah,
So we
right.
brought him home. And, after he started to get comfortable and he's healthy and he's gaining this weight, he's hell on wheels. He is just insane amount of energy. No matter how much you walk, you throw
How
the ball,
old
you
is he?
play. They weren't sure how old he
Oh,
is.
they
We're
weren't.
estimating he's probably 1.5 to 2 years old right
So
now.
he's still very puppy.
So he's very
Yeah.
puppyish,
Yeah.
very excited all the time. And we thought, 2 puppies can be so different, and so
Yes.
can 2 kids.
you're
In the
right.
same environment,
That's
by 2
right.
parents, those
That's
2 kids
right.
could be
Just
the
one.
I
exact
think all of
opposite.
your kids are different. All 3 of my girls were different. Your boys
My
are
two can
very
be a 180
different.
different.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we raised them under the same roof, right? Like-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You raise one child
I
that
know.
says, I want to save lives, I want to be a firefighter. And then you raise another kid that says, I want to play with matches.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to keep
You're
those
right.
firefighters in business.
Busy.
That's funny. All right, so you have that side of your life, and then you have the Glencroft
Which is
side.
wonderful.
And
Absolutely.
You do so much for this campus. But tell us a little bit about what you started this last couple months with the book reading. Dive into
Okay.
that. Explain.
Well,
it.
I've been with Glencroft. I just celebrated 5 years a
Okay.
couple months ago, and we know with the whole Zoe thing, we've kind of had to reshape and redefine what Channel 4 is.
Sure.
Channel 4 used to be something that just played pictures of flowers 24 hours a day, except for the 15 minutes that we might do a daily devotional or the BNR show. Other than that, Channel 4 was just painted pictures of flowers. And it's slowly grown over those 5 years I've been here, and now we have
a
almost
lot of
24 hours of network.
Yes.
We have so much content to play, but we need enrichment. We need things that people can watch and feel so enriched by, something that can really just kind of grab you. So we had a kind of volunteer idea of, well, why don't we provide some kind of book readings? You know, it could follow in line with an intellectual pillar, and we can get some things that prod emotions, prod the mind, make people really think and wonder.
And
Not
this
something that's too
was
simple.
your idea, because we'd had a discussion in my office about it. This was all your idea, and in the very beginning, I thought, I wonder how well that's going to go over. And we've had so many compliments.
I wasn't sure about it either. I had no idea what it was possibly going to look like.
You've done a great job with it.
Maybe we'll try reading something, and I remember talking to you, and I was like, oh, I don't know, what book am I going to read? Who's going to decide? And then you just said, I think it's important that you can kind of read from the heart and choose something that you like, you enjoy, and she thought it would impact more in the reading.
Very
so I went for it. So then I chose The Giver, which I think was like an early 2000s book. It has been out for extremely long, and I figured there are probably 0 to no residents that have actually heard of The Giver. But it's a nice story that I've always enjoyed, kind of, I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but kind of like dystopian society books. So I love Animal Farm, I love 1984, anything by George Orwell. So what's great about this book, The Giver, is it's a world where everything only exists in sameness, in black and white, and no one can actually see color because they've been raised that way, and they give them medication every morning so that everything is sameness. And you are told to not use extreme language, not just curse words, but if you were to say that you're exasperated or starving for lunch, you'd be reprimanded for using a word like starving, because no one here starves. We all have food. You are simply hungry. So then throughout this story, he becomes like the next receiver to receive the memories of the past and learn how to see colors, and finds his motivation to kind of want to get things back to the old way. It's a very interesting story.
The other side of it too is that we have numerous residents that are sight impaired, and to have the reading of the book has been so fantastic for them. So
you got very good voice for it. A lot of people don't realize the commercials that we've had out in the public.
He voices them.
He was the narration behind those commercials.
You definitely have a radio voice, and
if I try for it. I think if I practice a little bit, I'll my lips for a couple of hours.
You're really good at it. All right, so with the COVID striking the campus and us having to pivot and bring so much onto Channel 4, reshape a lot of our fitness classes, throw them on Channel 4. We threw a lot on your plate, and things that you needed to film and execute. What would you like our residents to know, especially going forward? You're doing so much with activities and trying to work with Ross and Tiffany in their world, and trying to bring as much as we can. What's new and what's coming with that department and everybody as a whole?
Well, as a lot of people might not know, is we're, or maybe do know, is we're such a new department. You know, I've been here for 5 years. I started out in security, and then every time we've seen some sort of a media related need, such as, save money by printing inside, maybe save money by building our own websites, save a little bit of cash by bringing more of these things in-house. And that's just grown slowly over time. Now we've kind of created this illusion of being a 13-person team, but it's really just the 4 of us.
Yes.
I've got me, I've got Brian, who's behind the camera right now, I've got Carrie and Tori, who work on all our ads and digital media and printing. We get stretched pretty thin, but we enjoy it. It's our passion, it's what we love doing. So
you're right.
We know sometimes, things get thin. We love working with activities because Ross and Tiffany are so much fun. I mean, we're work together so much, you'd think that they're a family. I mean, we spend so much time together.
That's
but
cool.
Even with being able to do remote live bingo, I'm so happy that we're able to offer something like that through Channel 4, but mostly
trivia.
under the guidance of John W. because
Yeah.
none of this would exist if he didn't have the idea of
Yes.
the need
This
of
is
having some sort of
definitely his
media
vision.
thing or
Yeah.
department on
Well,
campus.
And you're all so talented.
Yeah, you
I
really
mean,
are.
really and truly, I'm not just saying that, but
No, Tori,
you're all
Gary, everybody.
so
Brian,
talented,
absolutely.
you know, and you really add
But
so much.
but you're right to talk about John because to have a vision of we need to have this in house so that we can execute
Oh, definitely.
without COVID even being a blimp on the
Right.
radar, and then it struck, and so many campuses were left
Oh,
not having access to film their own stuff, and we're kind of left holding the bag
Oh,
in terms
sure.
of getting content and
Right.
info
But
out.
one of the hardest things is even just telling your own story. Who can tell your story better than you
That's
yourself?
right.
That's right.
And you try and get somebody external who doesn't know your story and
Right.
isn't
And doesn't come
involved in
across
your
authentic.
culture.
Yeah.
Something just there's always some sort of disconnect somewhere, and it just gets so challenging. But being able to know Brian's been here for almost 4 years. I've been here for 5
right.
years. Carrie's been here for more than 6 years.
Yeah.
And Tori collectively has been
Yes,
here just
she
as
has.
long.
We
She's
brought
being
her
here as a
back,
receptionist.
yeah.
So she worked
That's
at
a
Providence
lot.
Place.
That's
Yes.
a lot
So
of hours.
we've got a lot of us that have just been in all the events, worked with all the magazines, even before we had in-house media, just being a part of Glencroft to understand what is the vision of Glencroft and what we want to look like. How do we define
That's
ourselves?
right.
So when we need to do a commercial for external, even though we're not marketing, it's important that we understand the vision
That's right.
to be able to kind of capture things.
And you know the brand and you know the lens that we look through
Yeah.
to promote that. But it's important because I've spent a lot of time with Gabe in
I
the
know.
last couple weeks, just as we've gotten into the fall and having to develop content for conferences that
Right.
usually we would go to.
Yes,
that we would
exactly.
punch our plane ticket and
That's
we'd fly
right.
across the country. And now everybody's in the space of
As a
we have
guest-
to film, we have to film, we have
That's
to make a
right. As a
video.
guest speaker.
And so I feel bad because he had to edit 2 hours worth of
Right.
video of me
Yeah.
talking about Parkinson's down to 1.
2 hours of footage, of raw footage, is a lot of footage.
It
That's a lot
is.
of time
It's a
to
lot
go
of
through.
footage.
I felt bad for him, but he killed it, knocked it out of the
Yes.
park, and we've got some great
Very
videos that we're
excited, yeah.
getting over the walls and doing some fun with. So
So we get to tell the story. And so, I mean, virtual kind of is the
Yes.
way moving forward.
That's right.
It makes you think of all the other people that don't have the possibility, they don't have the accessibility. What other options do they have?
That's right.
Very.
Yeah.
Well, it's been awesome.
Gabe, thank you so much for joining
Mm-hmm.
us today, and thank you for sharing your story with us. So
Thank you.
What a show!
I know, I love this. I
Man,
loved it.
Two
Yeah.
rock stars.
Absolutely.
Two of the, I wouldn't say the better men in the
Well,
Glencroft,
I
but
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
two big heavy hitters that really spoke to what they do on this camp.
Two of our most favorite people
Yeah.
for sure. And I loved what Stan was saying about the needs of the residents, all of you. I love the fact that he's been able to visit with so many of you, kind of take you from anxiety ridden to feeling more comfortable, praying with you. He's just a wonderful addition to our campus. We're so lucky to have him.
Stan has such unique perspective.
He does.
Because we are all in the fire with you guys
Yes.
and working with you and talking with you, but Stan gets over the bridge almost to a
does.
deeper side, obviously.
Right.
And so for his perspective of our residents can be frustrated at times, you know, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're all that.
Well-
we are all frustrated to a certain extent, but I think to talk through how this campus has really put forward so many
Absolutely.
amazing things during this time.
Yes.
Where others, when we talk to Dan Houston, who goes
Yeah.
around and says, you guys are so far outside the box
Right.
in what you guys are
Because he
executing.
sees so many other
That's right.
campuses too.
So Stan has such good perspective.
He does, and I so appreciate everything. You know, we love our community of faith, and they are such a magnificent group of people. But Stan is kind of boots on the ground, going and visiting people in their apartments.
And he's been instrumental with me
Yeah.
in the spiritual pillar,
Right.
because ZoeLife, that's our foundation.
Right.
And so for him, I'll get a call once or twice a week of this resident so and so really
Right.
needs some
Of
help.
course.
And so then we can team up Stan with
That's right.
Dr. Flynn or whoever and create these safety nets.
Exactly.
So if you're isolated, if you're feeling depressed, that's our guy. I know you
Right.
say it every day in the update.
I do.
But it's important to reiterate.
It is
It's
very
critical
important,
that
and
you
it's
reach
nice
out
to
to
be
Stan.
able to have that option. And what about Gabe?
What can you
Gabe
say?
is
He looked
fabulous.
awake if I just had a baby, but he's
I
got
know.
like the perfect baby. I got
He
a
does
puppy
have
and
the
I'm getting no
perfect baby.
sleep. and he's got a puppy and he's living the dream, or a kid and he's living the dream.
So true.
It's crazy.
But he does have a new puppy, and that one.
Yeah.
I love hearing about Gabe's life. He is one of our most favorite people, as I've said, and he does so much work for us.
I like bringing up people that, you know, you feel the magic of what they do on the campus.
Passion.
But
Definitely
to
has the
hear it
passion.
and see it firsthand, I think is key, because a lot of times our residents, I know because we talk to them, turn on Channel 4 and the expectations are, I want this right there, and this is magic. And
That's right.
There's so much going on behind the scenes. It is such heavy lifting to get this stuff up on this channel. So to be able to hear Gabe's perspective and talk about, you know, this is what Activities is doing now, and this is so fun for me. We're all jacked up to be able to do it, and we have the ability because of our department to bring to you guys so much. I think it's so fun.
Unique, and we're just so thankful that we have these guys that are able to help us all the time.
So great show.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.